Do you ever wonder why prosperity seems to come so easily to some people and others seem to struggle endlessly? In this video, we're going to go all HGTV and talk about not property rehabilitation, but prosperity rehabilitation. Because while we definitely need a plan to rehabilitate a property, we actually don't need a plan to rehabilitate our prosperity. Sound interesting? Then stay tuned. Hi there and welcome. My name is Remy, like Do Re Mi. I'm a best-selling author and creator of the Get Unstuck Revolution. I help extraordinary women just like you dissolve the obstacles in your path so you can bring success to you. Now let's get started with today's video. Okay, let me jump off the screen here and switch to my laptop. Today, we're talking about prosperity rehabilitation. It isn't the same as rehabilitating a house, which requires plans and blueprints and permits and getting the foundation right. We're talking about prosperity rehabilitation, which, believe it or not, doesn't require a plan at all. So if you've been scratching out goals, researching what kind of business or side business is a best fit for you, or my personal favorite, how to remove money blocks. And believe me when I say I'm being sarcastic, because looking for and removing blocks is not only nearly impossible, in my opinion, but it also calls in resistance, the very energy that repels the prosperity we're looking for. So if you've been making a plan toward financial freedom, well, it might actually be easier than you think because a plan isn't even necessary. As business owners, or even in our quote unquote real jobs, in our relationships at home or at work, or even when we're trying to get a grip on our finances, we can sometimes find ourselves wondering, what am I missing? Things shouldn't be this way. Well, today's episode is for you. If you wonder, can we behave our way to success, or is that a myth? What about tithing, donating, and giving money away? Does this really help our prosperity, or does it somehow have the opposite effect? And the secret message that prosperity holds for us. Yes, we're talking about how to find your hidden power when you want to transform challenges into successes. I like to call it the audacity of alchemy. Because when you're feeling stuck, it's never the situation that has you stuck. It's your energy that's become stuck by the trigger of negative emotions that can come from past situations or events. In other words, it isn't the pain of the situation, it's the pain of not being connected in the natural energy of who you really are, of being connected to that magical part of you that's a creative vibrational being who can use positive energies to create what you want and bring it into physical manifestation. Part of this process is to allow your manifestations to materialize and not get stuck in the negative vibrations that block them. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because when you can vaporize unwanted negative energies and reduce the conflicts that steal your positive energy flow, the possibilities for crystallizing the success you crave are endless. This series has little wisdom pearls that will help you do just that. Because if you're like me, then you're someone who has the audacity, the willingness to take bold risks and transform challenges into success. So let's talk about this idea of transformation and the audacity of alchemy. And specifically, we're talking about prosperity rehabilitation. Now, to set the stage, I'd like you to go back into your fondest memories. I'd like you to think of a time where you were the absolute happiest you've ever been. It might have been a relationship where you were crazy in love. It might have been an accomplishment that made you so over the moon and on top of the world, you were quite certain you just might become the next great cheerleader. It might even have been a divorce where your crazy ex partner or a business partner moved out and you suddenly felt like the square footage around you doubled because now the energy surrounding you was freed up. So I'd like you to get that scenario in your mind's eye, that one moment in time where you were the happiest you've ever been. In that moment, it was very likely that you felt an abundance of life force energy all around you. In that moment of insane, glorious happiness, the life energy around you was on its brightest setting. Can you see that? I know I can. People often ask me how to manifest money, how to attract prosperity and abundance, but asking how to manifest money is the wrong question because it assumes lack. It assumes that we don't have any prosperity. And the way we attract prosperity is acknowledging and honoring the prosperity and abundance that's all around us in our heart, our soul, and some of our most cherished memories. That's what invites more. So when we go back to memories, when we were the happiest, we're acknowledging and honoring the prosperity and abundance of life force energy that was all around us. As we feel that life force energy again, it invites more. And as it invites more of those happy feelings, the universe can't help but go into high gear to find more and more things to bring us this happiness. As we feel this abundance of life force energy, we begin to feel like we can do anything. Any doubts or fears that we've been harboring tend to dissipate as these feelings of abundance move in and crowd out the negative fears. Our thoughts are energy, and because all thoughts are energy, as we have these thoughts about how good this abundance of life force energy feels, those thoughts begin to gather more and more thoughts about abundance. They magnetize. When we understand how energy behaves, well, we can more easily work with it. And the way energy behaves is largely based on our thought patterns. As we experience this life force energy, suddenly we're noticing an abundance of air, an abundance of majestic nature, an abundance of beautiful things, an abundance of good feelings. Our thoughts are gathering more and more thoughts about abundance. See how that works? This is why our positive thoughts are so important and why we talk about them so much here. As I think back to the love of my life, and in this moment, I'm remembering how wonderful it was to fall in love. And I remember how many times a day I said to him, "Isn't life just so beautiful right now?" And he probably got very tired of hearing me say that. But it's as if life just got better and better. Every detail got better, every opportunity got better. And I was feeling like I could do anything. These are the memories we want to have instant access to because, as we know, the universe can't tell if it's a memory or something actually happening in present time. All the universe knows is our vibration. If we're vibrating at a high frequency, the universe jumps into action to bring us more of those higher experiences. Our only job then is to tap into this vibration and focus on what we want, just keeping it in sight as we maintain these good, positive emotions. We stay positive, and even though we don't know what good is headed our way, we stay the course and follow the vibration. We're following this vibration and not allowing any resistance or any negative thoughts. And this may take some practice and discipline. If we can stay tapped into this abundance of life force energy, the universe will do its job and bring us more things that match this vibration. Some people call this being in the flow. But if you're like me and you have some tendencies toward a type A personality that needs to be actively active, then I think of this not as being in flow, but of actively tapping into and holding this life force energy. Being in surrender or being in the flow doesn't seem as natural for me as it does for others. And if you're the same way, then you might try this too. Just actively tap into and hold the space for this life force energy. Hold it in your hands, or sometimes I'll imagine myself holding a plate or holding a chalice that the universe can make deposits into, if that makes sense. All right. So that's the energy side of things. That energy behaves according to our thoughts because our thoughts are energy. And so the way energy behaves is in large part up to our thoughts. And this is why I say that manifesting money doesn't necessarily take a plan because there's energy work and mindset work before we ever implement a plan. So let's talk for a minute about the mindset side. Sometimes our underlying mindset or our thoughts need to be repatterned. This is a crucial step if we want to attract prosperity. Repatterning our thoughts is a crucial step. The direction of our thoughts determines whether we attract or repel prosperity. The direction of our thoughts, so this means that we want to align with where we want to go, which means having a clear picture and a clear mindset about our destination. And along with the destination, we always want to know who we are. And this is probably the bigger part of mindset, and that is identity. How we identify with who we are determines how we'll direct our thoughts. You know how we hear these stories in football or baseball or soccer where one team is just within reach of a championship and then they blow it in the final seconds? Why does one team win and the other loses when they're that close in the final seconds? Well, it gets down to mindset or identity. And we see this in relationships too, where the guy gets the girl, a love he's been searching for his whole life, and then he blows it right before taking the championship. If we look closely, we might see that some carry the mindset of a champion and others carry the mindset of a loser. And our mind can get triggered toward one extreme or the other right before a big win. And this is interesting to observe when someone is just acting their way through life, but they aren't authentic. They're acting as if they're a champion, but their mindset says they're a loser. And so, this is my question for you. Do you believe you can behave your way or act your way to success, or is that a false truth? Is it possible to keep acting like a champion or a wealthy person or a money magnet until it becomes a reality? Or for you, do you find that acting your way to success doesn't work and that for you, the mindset, the thoughts about prosperity need to change first? Or do you find that acting your way to success is what changes your thoughts about success? Interesting, right? All right. So we've talked about how energy behaves, that our thoughts are energy. And so the way energy behaves is in large part up to our thoughts. We also talked about mindset and whether we see ourselves as a champion or as a loser, because our identity in this regard will predict the outcome, maybe even more so than whether we try to behave our way to success. And so, lastly, I'd like to turn our attention to the hidden message that money and prosperity has for us. You know, money itself is neutral, it only has the meaning we give to it. Money is simply a way to reach and expand. Whether money means enjoyment or whether money means survival, our focus on whatever it means to us will either attract joyful experiences or survival experiences. Even if we live with indifference about money, in other words, even if we don't give it much thought, those thoughts of indifference or no thoughts about it at all aren't thoughts of reach and expansion. Make sense? Not thinking about prosperity isn't reach and expansion. So, for the most part, we're either reaching toward survival or reaching toward expansion. Usually it's one of the two because the universe doesn't allow status quo. We're either expanding or we're surviving. So, just a little food for thought. So, if you've ever let me pose a question. Let's say that you've just won the lottery. If you've just won the lottery, the universe is asking, how can you reach and expand? Would you set up a foundation to bring clean water to disadvantaged countries? Would you follow in the steps of Tesla and bring free energy to everyone on the planet? If you were to win the lottery, how would you use those resources to reach and expand? And then on the other end of the spectrum from the lottery, if we've just experienced a setback, the setback is also asking us to reach and expand. Either way, that's what we're being asked to do. And that's why I say money is a catalyst for us to reach and expand in life. Now, I get this question all the time. What about tithing, donating, and giving money away? Does this really help us to reach and expand, or does it sometimes have the opposite effect? Well, it won't matter if we make $5 a year or $5 million a year. If we struggle to make ends meet each month, our mindset is focused on what we don't have. Our mindset is focused on the struggle. And we can't be a conduit for money if we're in a struggle. We can give away everything we have. We can tithe down to our last penny, and we still won't be a conduit if we're coming from a position of trying to expand this way. The energy is wrong. We can make $5 a year or $5 million a year. If we're in a struggle, the energy is wrong for us to donate or tithe our money. And this is because of reaching and expanding. These are elements of mindset. Reaching and expanding are a mindset. When we have thoughts of reaching and expanding, we're putting an energy into motion since thoughts coming from our mind are an energy. So it won't matter how much we tithe if our energy and mindset are off. Make sense? The energy of the law of attraction is always active. And when we learn things like what you put into the world comes back to you tenfold, or give unto others, or it's better to give than receive, these are all simple statements of the law of attraction. If we give freely without expectations in return, we will receive back many times over. But here's the thing. If we give with sheer joy, it brings more joy into our life. But if we give out of panic or desperation, it invites a flow of more desperation. If we begrudgingly give it, waiting impatiently to get the flow back in return, then we're choking off the energy. We're choking off the flow. The secret is to feel good about what we're giving, pure love energies of frequency, of light and love. This is why we want to get into the energy and mindset first. For instance, we want to give to whatever or whoever has made us feel nourished, uplifted, inspired, encouraged, happier. We give to add joy to our life. And this requires, in the process, transmuting any negative energies before taking any action toward giving. Once we can feel the gratitude and the real joy of giving at the same time that we're in that flow of giving, we'll also be stepping into the flow of receiving, because everything is energy. We just have to get the energy right first. Let me give you an example. Years and years ago, gosh, probably 20, maybe 30 years ago, I moved across the country for a job that never happened. Now, I only had about $400 to my name, which was a little bit scary, but I was going into a new job. Um, but the job didn't pan out. It never happened. And so once I got moved and I was feeling a little bit scared, someone suggested to go back and look for any debts that were unpaid and pay them off immediately, and then go to the closest church and donate the rest to open up the flow of prosperity. So I did that exactly because I was desperate. I was hoping and praying that it would work. Not that I had much debt. I had a $100 dentist bill and a $30 credit card payment that was past due, and that was it. But I was still in a panic because now I was penniless. I'd given everything away. And a friend of mine bought me a juicer at the thrift store for $5 and a bag of veggies just to try and get me through until these prosperity flows could open up. Well, I think you may already know the outcome. Because I was desperate, because I was in such a panic, because I was still feeling betrayed at moving across the country and then losing the job, because I had such resistance as I was trying to turn things around, well, all the action I was taking did nothing to put me into the flow of prosperity. The energy was off. Now, fast forward 20 years, when I learned the art of appreciation and I was truly living in appreciation to the fullest, that's when I made the biggest commission I'd ever made in my life. And we're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I didn't pay off debts and I didn't tithe anything to try to get into the flow of money. It was purely energetic because the energy comes first. Let me say that again. I didn't tithe anything to try to get into the flow of money. It was purely energetic because energy comes first. And so this is the hidden message of money and prosperity. It's asking us to reach and expand our energy in life, to become bigger, better, stronger, fuller. It doesn't make it asking us to make a plan. It's asking us to raise our energy, to raise our vibration, to raise our energy to higher and better thoughts about prosperity and let go of the negative energies that block it. We want to always look for the bigger picture and reach for the possibilities. When we're in the habit of thinking bigger and reaching for more, we'll see that there's always more to achieve. And the process of changing our thoughts to accept each new level of achievement, well, that's a great exercise. It makes manifesting even easier than we've ever imagined because we're choosing better thoughts and a better mindset. It's a choice. We're choosing a higher frequency, higher and better thoughts, because our choice of frequency changes the course of our journey. So, reflecting back on everything we covered today, how can you apply what you've learned? When you think about the hidden message of money and prosperity, that it's asking us to reach and expand our energy in life, what can you see for yourself? Whether you're currently making $5 a year or $5 million a year, how can you reach and expand your energy and your mindset to invite positive new outcomes? Because money isn't asking us to make a plan. It's asking us to raise our vibration, to raise our energy to higher and better thoughts about prosperity and let go of the negative energies that block it. Well, I hope this helps you as you're using the powers of alchemy to transform challenges and obstacles into positive new successes. This podcast is all about helping you progress in your spiritual growth and have success on life's journey. It's all about getting unstuck by unlocking your hidden power. If you still can't get your head around what's got you stuck, you can tell me about it. You can send me a question to questions@unlockyourhiddenpower.com, or I also have a free guide available for you if you'll simply visit unlockyourhiddenpower.com. Of course, if you're already right here on the podcast page and not listening through iTunes or one of the others, then you'll see it right there for you at the top of the right-hand column. What is this free guide all about? Well, if you've ever thought to yourself, I need to get my life back, or I need to get my prosperity back, or if you're just having a hard time that you can't seem to recover from, well, you may have suffered invalidation, abuse, or a spiritual injury somewhere along the way. Knowing how to take back your life and your energy so you can just move forward is one of the most common questions I get. And fortunately, finding your way back to you, well, it's easier than it might seem. This new guide is the first step in getting out of the sheer frustration of being stuck and spinning your wheels on success that seems elusive. So thanks for joining me today, and I'm wishing you a life filled with all the alchemy you need to bring success to you. Feel free to share this video with anyone you know who's feeling stuck, and don't forget to grab your free guide at unlockyourhiddenpower.com.